Alright, guys, this is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor. We're going to do a review first of Dynamite in Kansas City on June 8th. Alright, it is the Casino Battle Royal. And before I get started all into this, if you like what you're hearing or you like any of the other shows, please go over to Patreon for 99 cents a month. They even run some other deals. You just got to catch them when Matt throws them. But for 99 cents a month, you get ad-free. And it gets you in Discord, it gets you in a few other little things. And then you go on the website and there's different tiers. So you just go check that out when you get a chance, guys. All right. We are going to start off with the Casino Battle Royal. And you got to understand, the Battle Royals are great, but sometimes they can be, how can I put this, a little dull, because they're trying to set their get all of the wrestlers out there and get them seen. So anyway, we get a good start here, and this is the way I look at a battle royal. All right, I was in the restaurant business for years and years. One of our dishes was gumbo. And with gumbo, when you're making gumbo is all about the roux. So the roux tonight, AEW's roux tonight, was Tony Nese, Daniel Garcia, Murder Hawk, and then they brought Eddie Kingston out, and Daniel Garcia was their first five. And they were bringing them out in somewhat of an order of fives. So we get started. So you've got your basic roux in there, and each wrestler going in will be kind of like an ingredient going into this. So, they start bringing in, all right, you had the first one they really brought in was Darby. And then when they bring in Eddie Kingston, Eddie Kingston and then maybe Darby, or whichever order it was. But when Eddie Kingston has got this walk down the ramp, like, I'm going to walk down there and I'm getting ready to whoop some. But he does this little walk down, and him and Daniel Garcia, they get into a slap match. And I'm getting a little bit tired of these people using the slap hands. They at least make it look like a palm strike. But anyway, that's another story or another gig for another night. But they go in straight to swinging around, and and when it comes to Murder Hawk, Archer, even Jim Ross brought it up. Man, everything is there. I know he's great friends with Stone Cold and everything, but man, this guy's got all the tools. Maybe, hey, he's making a ton of money. I'm hoping, and he's doing well, so maybe he knows what's best for him because he's wrestling in Europe and in Japan. So maybe his gig is good over there, but I think it needs to be rebranded here. But that's my only opinion. Why would they have brought him out with Jake the Snake to start him off? But anyway, the match is going on. You get Ricky Starks coming in after that, and let's just go through some of these. All right, you got Ricky Starks, and it goes into Hager and Phoenix and Swerve and Keith Lee, and and we'll go down Silver and Cargill and Kahisha, Dante, Starks, Fish, they all Hobbs. It just all goes down the list. But anyway, everybody gets thrown into this big old pot of gumbo. And one of the first big matchups that really makes it look, I think, great is Murder Hawk and Keith Lee. They have a little standoff and do their little bow up because they're two big old boys, and they get to throwing each other around a little bit, and then it goes into Swerve ends up eliminating Keith Lee. So it starts a theme. So you're thinking maybe Swerve. And it goes through several other little deals, several little fights. One thing I did like was when Acclaim come out, Caster come out, of course, young man is hurt there, so Billy Gunn's rolling him out, and he does his little rap, and hey, man, he does it for each city. He sets it up. It is what it is. Some people may say it's cheesy, but, it's kind of enjoyable. I want to hear what he says. But his one line in this one that I thought was great was, "Two guns that shouldn't be banned are the ass boys." I thought that was just hilarious. But anyway, it goes through, they bring in Andrade, just coming back from his wedding with Charlotte Flair, and going through all the, hey look man, to come back to work after a wedding in a couple of days, maybe since they are in such great shape and they take such care of their bodies, they had a window of drinking. That doesn't usually happen in a normal wedding. So coming back to work a couple of days after that, can be a little funny. All right, then they go into a Moxie promo about the Forbidden Door. Good segment, he's pretty much saying he's going to whoop on everybody and lays it down. And then I like the way he ended the interview with "I love you, Mom," or "I love you, Mom." I thought that was pretty cool. I'll whoop everybody in the room. I'll do this, I'll do that. But in the end of it, it's like, hey man, I love you, Mom. I wish my mom was still here. I could tell her that. All right, and then they go into CM Punk. He has had his surgery, and apparently very successful. So they laid that out there, and then they dropped the bombshell. A new title. A new title. Okay, the All Atlantic title. It's really trying to encompass a lot more of Europe and everything, and man, I gotta say, as looking at what they were trying to encompass in their map of the viewership of AEW and everything, and I couldn't go through a whole show without throwing some old school in there. So it looks like the old territories, the old regions. And in the old territory days, you had your territory, and each territory respected each other, and you shared wrestlers at occasions and times and all this. So, but you got to consider, man, when AEW, a smaller company, goes over to do a tour of Europe, they can only take so much equipment. Their main logistics is the wrestlers. They've got to rent everything they do over there. And there are adequate venues over there, and there's some great wrestling programs all through, so you can rent some good equipment, but you have to make it look like AEW. And so there within lies the challenge. But all right, they do the Moxie promo. They go into CM Punk, then they announce the new title, and then they start a tournament for the title. And one of the first matches is going to be the House of Black against Death Triangle. So that's my attempt at theatrics. But pretty much you got Buddy Matthews against Pac. The bastard. So, and I'm going to refrain because I taped this before and I kept calling him Murphy. But now, with on my notes and everything right in front, I think I can not do that. But Matthews and Pac, Buddy and Pac put on a hell of a match. It's a qualifying match for the tournament, and they do one hell of a job. And the crowd's really into it. It was really a good match. The worst thing I saw was in the corner at one time. I think it was Pac. Laid out the next move, and I hate because the microphones and the cameras and everything are so good now. You pick up on everything. And a quick little bit that will come up a couple of times in this show is, so I might as well put this out. When I grew up, my mother was deaf, and she didn't do sign language. She was brought up in the poor areas of the South, and they didn't teach that when they were young. So me and my mother, we spoke without speaking out loud, but we would talk, and it helped me in my career later on because I was able to keep problems from happening because I could read people's lips across the room, and it enabled me to get in positions and talk them out. I was the best talker. If I put my hands on you back in the day, you were out of hand or you were out of line because I could talk you out. And then 30% of my people came back and apologized if they were rude. So anyway, that's the only problem I had with the match was a little speaking in the corner. But Pac ends up winning the match, and at the end of it, Death Triangle comes out and of course checks on the boy, like anybody would do. But House of Black, Buddy Matthews is now up on the ramp after the match. House of Triangle comes out. House of Black, House of Triangle. But House of Black comes out, and there's no editing in this show. But they come out and they represent and take care of their boy. So then there's a little standoff a little bit between Penta and Alistair. So it's setting up something on down the road. All right, guys, let's see. So they get through that. Let me see. We're going through the notes. We got all of that. And I believe this is where we turn the page. Yes, it is. All right, they go into a Kingston promo. He's threatening and willing to whoop anybody, but he really goes after Jake Hagar, which is setting up for the next match coming up that we will talk about later. But one thing about Kingston's promo I will give him is that he was told he had like a minute, so he makes a big deal about, hey, don't tell me you'll get a minute, and they do the countdown part way through his interview, and of course he acts a little fatigued at that and doesn't like that, and then towards the end he finally says, I know what this means, and he brings the camera guy on for a quick little 3 or 4 second camera shot for his family. But he's pretty much, he didn't put him in a headlock or nothing like that, but he pretty much says, don't ever do that again. And I did a show a while back where a fox came up when me and Matt were talking, and I just did that, and a raccoon just walked up and looked at me like, because I have the back of my house is glass, and he just literally walked up like, at my local, at the Grizzlies games, the Memphis Grizzlies NBA games, you can go up and watch the announcers afterwards. And you stand there and you look like an idiot behind the glass. And that's what the coon looked like. But anyway, okay. So, I'm sorry, a coon threw me off. So they go in from the Kingston's promo, they go straight into Trent Beretta, pretty much talking about, his best friend. He's missing his best friend. He's hurt. And he calls out FTR. So FTR comes out and they speak of New Japan's attack of the prior week. And then New Japan comes out. And it's Will Ospreay with United in Power. And it's I want to say it is, so I can get these names right, because I made some notes. And, of course, I don't have this right here in front of me. But anyway, Mark Davis, I believe, is one of the gentlemen's name that's with Will that comes out, the Aussie duo, or the Aussie, their tag team, though, has been killing it. I went back and watched some stuff over in New Japan, so they've been killing it. And but anyway, they go through that. Will Ospreay comes out. They jump on everybody. They pretty much whoop everybody and say, "Hey, we're here." And it sets up what's coming up this prior week, or this upcoming week. And then O'Reilly does his promo with with Adam Cole, of course, and his partner, and Regal's out there. Pretty much Regal tells him, "Congratulations, you won, but you're getting ready to get your butt whooped." But Adam Cole is going on to do a commentary at this time on a match with David Finlay and Hangman. And it's Hangman's first time back since losing the title. And the crowd really supported him. And so the AEW writers and Hangman Adam Page should be very glad that the crowd, he's that much over, that the crowd really supported him. But, David Finlay is Fit Finlay's son, of course, the WWE legend, and not only WWE legend, but just pure wrestling legend. And he is, I want to say, Fit's brother wrestled, or his father wrestled, or somebody else. But anyway, he's been around. David's been around the wrestling business for a while, and I don't know exactly what happened at the first part of his career. But he apparently went to New Japan and reinvented himself, and man, he's done a great job. But the match was good. It allowed Hangman to be able to throw him out of the ring at one, or do a couple good moves offensively, and then run out the ring and grab him a beer from a fan in the crowd, and have a drink and everything. But that made me think, though, beers are $12, $15. I know I'm getting a camera shot, but I don't really care about the camera shot. Anyway, okay, so it was a good match. There was one mess up where Hangman goes to do a slam, and he doesn't have his balance, and it seems to be a reoccurring thing over the whole weekend, where some of the wrestlers, they're slipped because of the sweat or whatever, and they don't get that first where when you go to grab somebody, you need to grab and create your base of balance, which is your feet apart so far, so you have a base of balance, and then you can lift. And if the person's not resisting, and you can do this, it can look miraculous. It can look fantastic. But there was a slip in there. The move wasn't going right, and David Finlay goes into a small package to cover the move, and then they come back up and they recover. But that is a seasoned wrestler, and the writers and people, I hope, noticed that. I'm sure they did, because they're a lot smarter than me. But it comes out buckshot, Larry, at the end, and then Page goes on to do a promo, and he's going after the IWGP Championship, and he calls it out, but that ruffles Adam Cole's feathers. So he comes out, and they have a back and forth, but the way I judge how you win one of those and how the writing's going to go is what music walks up the ramp. And Adam Cole seems to have won that promo, because he walked up the ramp with the last word and his music. So we'll see how that goes. They teased on the women's championship, and then they go to a Wardlow promo. And of course, Wardlow is he's really hot right now, so he comes out street clothes. He calls out CM Punk, but says, "Hey, I want the championship," but CM Punk is a champion and he's hurt right now, so I'll wait. So he says, I'll wait. Okay. So, he does some good mic work, but then he mentions the TNT Championship. So Scorpio Sky comes out, and he, of course, is pissed, and he's walking down, taking his shirt off, like, I'll get in the ring now. And then you've got, American Top Team running down going, hey, no, and they, of course, stop him, and they're blaming Wardlow for going after him because he's hurt. And then Wardlow goes pretty much the same thing again. Hey, I'll wait. So they pretty much end that up, and they click over to the mouthpiece that used to be of Jade's, but the lawyer, which I do not particularly care for lawyers. Even my friends, I tell them, during business hours that are lawyers. Anyway, we'll talk later. But the lawyer gets up and he threatens a suit with all the security. What did he call it? The Arena Security Union, some Gibraldi, kind of thing. But he says that either you're going to have a class action lawsuit or you're going to be in a 20-man match, a handicap match. So you see where this is going. And they tease the Thunder Rosa Marina Schaefer match. And then they go into a promo with the Young Bucks, and they're in a little room. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm sorry, I'll have to use this reference, but the Young Bucks, and they're saying they're back and they want their titles back. And because they're in a little room, the Hearties hear it because it's such a little room, and the door's cracked. I don't know why. They didn't close the door. So they're saying they're back, and the Hearties come in and announce their relevance and say that they're here and they should have the chance at the champs. Well, because it's such a little room and the door's still cracked, Christian comes in with the champs. And he pretty much tells everybody that he's not sure that any of them are worthy of a championship, especially while they're in a little room. And then he announces a match. All right, okay, this is where it gets me, because he looks at the Hardys and he says, hey, this is a match that made us famous. I'm thinking TLC. And then he looks at the Young Bucks and he said, it made you watch us when you were kids. And I'm thinking TLC. And then after reviewing this now a little bit and look at the notes, it was probably because TLC is copyrighted by WWE, so he had to come out and say a ladder match. I was a little disappointed in that, but now looking back, there's probably some legal stuff in there, but they say they're going to have the match, so there we go. But then they go into the women's match with Thunder Rosa and Marina Schaefer. Now, Schaefer comes out, and she's a true badass. She's an MMA fighter. This is not like when they say Thunder Rosa has a background in MMA or some of these other people have a background. She is a true badass. And I think that was the hardest thing. She comes out to some real stiff music, some opera-type music, and just looks a little odd. And then they pan in the crowd, and they've got the Kansas City's offense, the Chiefs' offensive line, all chugging and blugging and having a good time. And so, they go back to the match. The match was really ugly. Rosa really had to carry the match. She had to work double time or triple time or however you want to put it. But the young lady, Marina, she's going to be probably good. But it's hard for MMA, I think, to go over because they only know how to hurt you. Understand that? Everything is offensive. Their when they block a punch, they're thinking of how to crush your jaw after that. And in this, it's like how to set up for another move. It's a chess game. And in some cases, if you really think about it, it's a lot harder. But that match is pretty ugly. They roll through. Thunder Rosa wins. They come out and jump on her. After the match, Tony Storm runs in, gives her a little help, and then they go to Jade and the Baddies promo. And at the end of that, of course, she has to tell Tony to just cut the shit. And then they go into the match after the tournament with, and I'm sorry, I don't think I mentioned that Kyle O'Reilly won the Battle Royal. He won it against, oh my gosh. Wait a minute, let me go back here. I feel terrible that I did this, but there again, we don't edit. So we will have to go back. But actually, O'Reilly, when he came in, Yuta, they said that he had just been in a tournament overseas, and he had literally flown in and came straight to the match. And at the end of the Battle Royal, it was Kyle O'Reilly and Yuta, and they did a great stand on the apron and did the little flips off, and you'll just have to watch the match to actually see, but Kyle O'Reilly pulled it out in the end. So that sets up the Kyle O'Reilly Moxie match. That's what the whole tournament was for, was to have Moxie. And excuse me, I'm still learning. So now you have Moxie and O'Reilly, and you've got Regal on color, which he is fantastic on color, he's fantastic on the mic. So he's just fantastic on the mic. His facial expressions, everything. He's old school to the freaking key, but he is fantastic. But anyway, they have the match. It's a great match. It really, really is a great match. Moxley comes out wearing the combat gear group, which I imagine how much that pullover, that hoodie costs, probably about $70 or $100. But actually, Kyle brings out the blood on Moxie. He actually gets him bleeding from the nose and mouth, and it's a great match all the way through. I could not describe it with all honesty, but it's a great match, a grueling match, and Mox ends up winning, but it's one of those matches that at the end you're going, whoa, But a couple quick little things on this particular deal is I didn't hear any mention of MJF. Supposedly they're taking his merchandise and photos down. We'll see. And then there is CM Punk not relinquishing the belt. 30 days in old rule, on the old days. 30 days you can't defend, you relinquish, there's a tournament. Anyway, that's the way that goes. But, all right. Well, that goes into that. And, it was a good show. I'm not saying it wasn't a good show. I'm just saying the writing, the battle royal was good, a lot better than normally I see in that. And the O'Reilly Mox match was great. The ladies match was a little disappointing. The interviews were pretty good, so I can't complain. I can't complain. I'm trying to go through the notes and see if anything I see, but I just don't think. All right, then, well, let's just go on to Dynamite. Oh, I'm sorry, to Rampage. And they started off with Kingston and Oh, wait a minute. Let me look at this right. It was Kingston and Hager. And Hager is so stiff. And Kingston with the slaps. Kingston, I think, should stay as a tag team wrestler and be in the brawling type of matches. And Hager needs to be the guy standing behind the guy. They gave him the startup match, the opening match, and just didn't do it for me. Just didn't do it for me. Kingston won the match. I'm sure he'd be the king of the indies. This match disappointed. Definitely for sure. And then they go to Brett Baker and do a interview, and that was pretty good, I have to say. She does a good interview, but it wasn't her greatest, put it that way. Then they bring out the monster. All right, Jay Lethal, Muda, they bring out, Singh. And this guy looks so impressive. Omos, excuse me, in the WWE is at one level. And I was doubting his progress at one time. But hey, he proved me wrong. You proved me wrong. I admit it. Well, this big Singh is a monster. And he did a flying body press and took out two guys in this match. He looks impressive. Now, they were going against Jabroni 1 and Jabroni 2 from Parts Unknown. But still, Jay Lethal, of course, is Jay Lethal. So, but they gave Singh the freaking a good role in this match. They didn't hold him back, and he looked fantastic. Him coming over the top rope is more impressive than Nash. Yeah, I said it. It was a beatdown match, but they may have something there. This young upstart promotion. All right, well, then they bring out Jade and the Baddies, and it's Red Velvet against Chris Statlander. A pretty good match, Red Velvet has gotten a lot better, and Chris Statlander she has the look to me. I want a female wrestler to look like a wrestler. I know the pretty little girls sell tickets and they sell T-shirts and everything, but I want a girl that looks like she's eaten a ham sandwich before. I'm not saying a big girl. I'm not talking dewdrop, and there's nothing wrong with dewdrop or nothing like that, but I'm saying I want a girl that looks like she trains and she's a wrestler. Legit, and Chris Statlander has that look. She had the power. Red Velvet looks better, but Chris wins, and then, of course, she gets jumped. Anna Jay comes in, and they do the whole little thing and jump on her, but then they bring out Athena. Of course, the refs have to stop that and hold her back. And then they go straight into America's top team, doing a promo that's really setting up the Ethan Page match with Miro next week. But Ethan Page's photo in the program that they showed before that looks like a 1930s English-style wrestler in that, which I thought was a little funny. But anyway, the promo was pretty good, and everything. So they're setting up the match for next week. And then the main event, which was Trent Beretta and FTR against United Empire. Ospreay, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher. And then I want to make sure Aaron's. I want to make sure I say his name right. Henry. Anyway, he was on the outside. I'm gonna say Will and Mark and Kyle really impressed me. Of course, you know what you're gonna get with FTR. All right, Beretta's gonna get hurt in the match somehow, and he'll pull off some moves that are gonna look really good live. They look okay on TV. That's just Trent. I'm sure. I mean, I'm going to get blasted for that. I'm just not a big Trent Beretta guy. But Will and Mark and Kyle really impressed me. The Empire, United Empire, they were impressive. And, of course, FTR, and I think actually Trent won the match. But FDR, you know what you're going to get with them. And to have them, I don't know, make these young guys look good, but these young guys looked really, really good. There's a bright future. There's a bright future in wrestling. You've got WWE up there developing what they can on their end. But I really like AEW's options where they're bringing in solid wrestlers from around the world that you might not have seen yet. And that's a smart, because they're a proven commodity. You know what I mean? You've got research tape on them. You know what they can do. You can build a storyline. You can do all these things. So kudos to AEW, for doing this. So pretty much we combined, I tried to do a show on each show, Rampage and Dynamite. And when you really try to stretch a show, it's not good. You should give your opinion, and that's it. And that's pretty much my opinion, my review of these two shows. Now, I would like to thank all the kind emails and messages that I got and have gotten this week. I appreciate every single one of them. I've read every one, and I've taken to heart. I've gotten them from Germany and England and India, and of course in the U.S., but I got one from, I believe it was Maverick Rose. I'm going to say England, but I may be wrong. But I appreciate Maverick's opinion, and I thank him for his support. And everyone like that out there, I really appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, this is going to end this review. I hope this was good. As I said, check out Patreon. No ads for 99 cents a month. And as always, let's just go through my regular deals. You remember to spay and neuter, always. And if you can rescue. And for everything else, let's all be kind to each other. Try something different. Everybody's got a different opinion. Kind of like wrestling. Think about it. You might like these wrestlers, and the other person might like the other wrestlers. Y'all might argue a little bit while you're in there watching the wrestling, but when you leave, you're wrestling fans. Something to think about. Anyway, guys, this is Memphis Mark signing out from Mullet Manor. And as always, remember, I'm out.